It is an absolutely beautiful Saturday morning here in Krakow, Poland, and it is an absolutely beautiful day. It is a beautiful Saturday morning here in Krakow, Poland, and somebody once told me that all work and no play makes for a I don't know, you fill in the blank. All right. So it's a Saturday morning in Krakow, and I've been sitting in front of a keyboard most of the week, and I thought, why not go out and go to Stare Miasto and bring you along. So Stare Miasto stands for Old Town, and Krakow is, Krakow is an old town if you know your history. So I was online and I was looking for walking tours in Krakow. And I found this free walking tour, very popular. So I'm going over to the meeting point. The walking tour starts in about 20-30 minutes, and it lasts for about 2 hours. So I'm going to try to bring you along on this walking tour of Krakow, and hopefully it'll work out because it's going to be a crowd, and I gotta try to keep up with the photography and the narration and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, hopefully I'll be able to do that. So we're going to begin the walking tour at St. Florian's Gate, and I'm going to talk a little bit about St. Florian's Gate and the city walls itself. So let's go enjoy Krakow. The first stop on the tour is this building here. This is known as the Krakow Barbican, if I'm pronouncing that, Barbican perhaps. The Krakow Barbican is a barbican, a fortified outpost once connected to the city walls. It is a historic gateway leading into the old town of Krakow. The Barbican is one of the few remaining relics of the complex network of fortifications and defense barriers that once encircled the royal city of Krakow in the south of Poland. It currently serves as a tourist attraction and a venue for a variety of exhibits. So I'll just take you around and read some of the history. The Gothic style Barbican, built around 1498, is one of only 3 such fortified outposts still surviving in Europe, and it's the best preserved. It is still moated, cylindrical brick structure with an inner courtyard 24.4 meters in diameter and 7 turrets. Its 3-meter thick walls hold 130 embrasures. The Barbican was originally linked to the city walls by a covered passageway that led through St. Florian's Gate. So there is your Barbican. Look at that. What a beautiful, beautiful day it is. Today is the 13th of October, 2018. Here would be looks like where they would put the cannons. All right, so we'll go and check out St. Florian's Gate. I've been to Krakow several times, but never actually took a tour, official or unofficial. The features of this, considered a masterpiece of medieval military engineering, the circular fortress of the Krakow's Barbican was added to the city's fortifications along the coronation route in the late 15th century, based on Arabic rather than European defense strategy. On its eastern wall, a tablet commemorates the feast of a Krakow burgher, Marcin Orawicz, who during the Bar Confederation defended the town against the Russians and shot their Colonel Panin. Look at that. All right, so let's go check out St. Florian's Gate and get in with the tour if we can find it. Next stop would be St. Florian's Gate. St. Florian's Gate, or Florian Gate, in Krakow is one of the best known Polish Gothic towers and a focal point of Krakow's Old Town. It was built about the 14th century as a rectangular Gothic tower of wild stone, part of the city fortification against Turkish attack. Look at that. The tower, first mentioned in 1307, had been built as part of a protective rampart around Krakow after the Tatar attack of 1241, which destroyed most of the city. The permit for the construction of a new city defenses featuring stone watchtowers, fortified gates, and a moat was issued by Prince Leszek II the Black in 1285. Look at that. The gate, named after St. Florian, became the main entryway to the Old Town. It was connected by a long bridge to the circular barbican erected of brick on the other side of the moat. The gate was managed by the Krakow's Furriers Guild. According to records, by 1473, there were 17 towers defending the city. Be a nice shot up. Wild stone. And this would be the entrance to the city. The gate tower is 33.5 meters tall. The Baroque metal helmet that crowns the gate, constructed in 1660, renovated in 1694, adds another meter to the height of the gate. Brama Florianska is the only city gate of the original 8 built in the Middle Ages that was not dismantled during the 19th century modernization of Krakow. The adjoining city walls and 2 additional smaller towers had been preserved and today host street displays of amateur art available for purchase. Will you look at that? Maybe I can zoom in a little bit and see let's see if I can zoom in. There you go. Look at that.
Hi.
And then come down just a little bit. All right. On with the tour. Should probably talk a little bit about the walls themselves. There's yet another tower right over there, and I believe there's yet another one as well. What a beautiful, beautiful day. And there's the other tower just down the way. Until the 19th century, Krakow had massive medieval city walls. The inner wall was some 2.4 meters wide and 6 to 7 meters high. 10 meters outside the inner wall was an outer lower one. The walls were punctuated by defensive towers 10 meters high. In the 19th century, just before they were demolished by the Austrian authorities, there were 47 towers still standing. Now there are only 3 Gothic towers left in all of Krakow. The Carpenters, Haberdashers, and Joiners towers connected to St. Florian's Gate by walls several dozen meters long. Just fantastic. before continuing the tour, I thought I would share this with you. This is a model of the old town here in Krakow. And it says the old city area with the royal route is surrounded by a green belt, the planty gardens created on the site of the city walls and the encircling the moat, which were demolished at the beginning of the 19th century. The old city connects with Wawel Hill on the Vistula River. The royal route leads down Florianska Street to the main market square and further down Grodska and Kananica streets to Wawel Castle. So here you can see the Barbican right there. And if you were a bird flying over, this is kind of the, or if you had a drone, this is what you would see. And there is the main square right there. Down to Wawel Castle. All right, it's 10 o'clock and you can see there's no shortage of yellow umbrellas. It's, bright sunny day today. Bright sunny day, but they still have the umbrellas out. So this is I'm taking the English tour, of course, and they've got the UK flags there. So I'm assuming it's going to be, UK English, but that's okay. All right, so what a wonderful opportunity. I've traveled, been traveling for years, and I've never thought to take one of the free tours such as I'm going to do here.
Walkative tour. My colleague is coming here probably. She'll be here in a couple of minutes, just in case. If the group is more than 35 people, then most likely we'll split you into two groups. It's going to be easier for both you and us. As for our company, we're actually a Polish company. We started back in 2007 with our tours in English here in Krakow, so more than 11 years ago. And today you can find us not only in Krakow but in Warsaw, Gdańsk, Poznań, Wrocław, and also outside Poland we are in one wonderful city in western Ukraine called Lviv. So if you're going to one of these places, just make sure that you know that we are there. As for our tours in Krakow, you see not only this flag but German flag, Spanish flag. Sometimes we guide people in Polish. Actually, we participate in many projects in the city, so we are socially very active. We're not just earning money, but we are also even supporting some city projects, and we are carrying out our own things, also our own projects. But that's our not guiding activity. As for the more detailed information, you will find all the information on our website. Or on some pamphlets if you have, but I recommend to go to the website because on the website it's always up to date. We are also on Facebook, so again we are even network socially active, as you see. And as for this is gonna she's behind me, right? Yeah. I told you. I kept them informed that some
Good
lady.
morning.
Yeah.
How was your night, guys? I had a long one.
Right.
I was thinking I'm gonna work today, but I will start at 11, and it turns out I'm starting with you.
Right. Well, some changes.
We'll see about that.
Good to see you here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Alright, so once again, welcome. My name is Navia. I'm going to be your guide for the Old Town Tour in English. I'm Polish, but I'm not coming from Krakow. I'm coming from like a tiny village east of Warsaw. I moved to Krakow in 2004 to study, graduated from history of religions, which gave me some fun, some knowledge as well, a little bit, but also no job, because history of religions doesn't give you a profession, like at all. There's no profession in it, yeah? Okay. So then 5 years later, I woke up with no plan. So after that, I took a course to be a guide, passed the exam, and I got a license So I'm a guide. Since 2011, this is my job. I work only in Krakow, though. So in Krakow, I work with Walkative Free Walking Tour. This was our original name when we started, because we were the first people doing that, free walking tours, yeah. And now we are not the only ones, so we changed. We got a name, Walkative. Yeah? But we started in Krakow, then we spread to every other place in Poland, really. We are in Warsaw, Gdańsk, Poznań, Wrocław, and so on. You can also find us in Lviv in Ukraine. In Krakow, there are two kinds of the tours. Since we are not sponsored by the city or by the government, one kind of the tour that we do are the page tours. And that's mostly the museum tours, like the Schindler's Factory, Main Market Square Underground. Those are the museum tours, those are the page tours. Yeah, this is not one of them. This is a free tour. And it's up to you if it's gonna stay free. Okay, that's gonna be your decision. So at the end of the tour, you'll decide if it's worth paying or not, or how much if it is. Yeah, that's gonna be up to you. The tour will take 2 hours and a half. We'll finish at the Wawel Castle, so that's gonna be the last stop for us. Okay, and in the meantime, during the tour, ask questions. Let me know if there's something wrong, like you cannot hear me, I'm walking too fast or speaking too fast. Let me know if that happens. Okay. You want to have a smoke? Do that few steps behind the group. Deal?
Deal.
Awesome, thank you. All right. Any questions so far? No questions. Good. So let's start with a question for you then. Have you been to Warsaw? Yes. One person, two more. Hands up. Let's do it this way. It's gonna be easier. Oh, okay. Oh, like half of the group. Did you like it?
Yes.
Did you like Warsaw?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, we've got a quick learner here. Yeah. Okay. So a word of warning for you guys. All right. If you're in Krakow, you talk about Warsaw, you say you hate the place. Okay. If you're in Warsaw and you talk about Krakow, you're just like, what? That small village to the south? Yeah. That's gonna be your reaction in Warsaw. Okay. For Krakow, there's a little bit of a. Some people call it competition, I call it hatred between those places, yeah? And the reason for that was the capital of Poland. Warsaw. What used to be, yeah, exactly, Krakow used to be, yeah. So they took the capital from us in the 17th century, and Krakow is still angry about that. Yeah? It was a long time ago, but they are still angry. So, Krakow is not only the older capital than Warsaw. Krakow is also older than Warsaw as a city, a place, yeah? There was no Warsaw yet when Krakow already was the capital, yeah? Then Krakow is older than Poland itself, the whole country. The first Krakow was established at the top of the Wawel Hill. This is 8th century, and there was no Poland yet, but there were Polish tribes living in this area. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, yeah. So they lived in this area that we call Poland, but there was no Poland yet, okay? They spoke the same future Polish language. So they were kind of related to each other, but they were not united, yeah? So one of those separate tribes started a town at the top of the Wawel Hill. This was the tribe of Wiślanie. The town they started called Krakow, and it was located by the river, so it's like a good position for a town. Yeah, that's 8th century. 2 centuries later, all those tribes were united into Poland, including Wiślanie tribe and Krakow. Yeah, so now we are in the 10th century. 8 plus 2, that's 10. Yeah. Now 1 century later, 10 plus 1. 11th. Yeah, good. So in the 11th century, Krakow became the capital of Poland. And then they had a problem, because the Wawel Hill, and we'll see that when we get there, it's not that big. So it was big enough for a town, but it wasn't big enough for a town and the government. Yeah? So somebody had to move out, and you've got those two groups of people, the government people and the citizens. And the place is too small for both, so who is going to move out? Not the government, come on. The citizens, yeah? The government kicked the city out from the Wawel Hill in the 13th century. 1250s, they took the city off the hill and they put it behind that wall. Then they built the wall to keep it safe. Then they built another wall, and the last part of the second wall, of the other wall, is behind you. There's this foundation of this size, but it's still there. Can you see it? Got that? Yeah? So we had those two walls, protect the city, one, another one, and another way to keep the city safe was a moat. What's inside a moat? Water. Yeah, you dig a trench, you put water inside, yeah? The last part of the moat we've got in Krakow is in front of you. Let's come closer. There's no water anymore, but that's the last part of the moat we've got in the city. Yeah, and those two walls and the moat were doing very good job in the Middle Ages in protecting the city up till the end of the 15th century, when the King of Poland, who lived still in the Wawel Castle, had a younger brother, and the younger brother turned out to be the ambitious one in the family. He grew up, he wanted to become the king now, but he's just a prince. He almost started a civil war because of it. So what the older brother was supposed to do now? Kill the boy, yeah. But he didn't want to. Instead, he decided to give him a crown, just not of Poland. And Moldova, our neighbor at that time, was in some political trouble. It looked like an easy victim, like they cannot defend themselves because they don't have a good government. So the King of Poland took his army to Moldova to grab the Moldovan crown and put it at the head of his younger brother, yeah? To give him a crown and at the same time kick him out from the country, I guess, yeah? It didn't work because the Moldovians didn't have a government, but they still had an army. So the Moldovan army killed the Polish army. I mean, like everybody. And then the king survived. He ran back scared to Krakow, knowing that the Moldavians are coming after him, but it's gonna take some time because in the winter they won't move. So he's got this winter, one winter, to fix the city, I mean to upgrade the defense system of it, yeah? So he decided that they are going to attack from this side. This is the main gate of Krakow, so they are gonna be coming from here, yeah? The Florian gate behind you. So he wanted to make it stronger. He added to it the Barbican. This is the round building in front of you. The Barbican originally was connected to the Florian gate. They were one building. When you turn around, can you see the different kind of pavement there where we started? Yeah? Okay. So this is the one. There used to be a corridor kind of like this, yeah, connecting them, okay? Which means that in order to enter Krakow now, after the Barbican was built, you had to start with that bridge, the one outside, next to the street. Got that? There's a gate at the end of it. You go into the Barbican through the gate, then you go around. You need to turn a little bit because now you went through the entrance and now the exit is not in front of you. Can you see that? The bridges of the Barbican are not facing each other, yeah? So you go through the Barbican like this. And then you go through this bridge here, and this connection that doesn't exist anymore, yeah? And then into the Florian gate. So 3 gates, 2 bridges, couple of passport controls on the way probably as well, yeah? So this is what the Moldavians were supposed to do. They were attacking the city next year, they were here with the army, they needed to open the gates. How do you open a gate when you don't have the key? Battering ram. So maybe this. Not this size, obviously, yeah, but this shape. You cut down a tree, you put it on the shoulders of your soldiers, 10 of them, yeah, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And they are going to, here are the gates, okay? They are going to go through the gate, this one. Let's assume it's working, yeah, they managed to break the gate. And now they cannot run straight because the other gate is not in front of them. They are going to stop inside the Barbican and turn around. And in this moment, when they are standing holding a tree, yeah, and just standing around, standing in one place, the defenders, the archers at the top floor, they cannot miss. It's 2 minutes of shooting, and everybody holding the ram is dead. Yeah, it worked perfectly. Up till the moment people started to use cannons, and then the walls. Maybe they would stop the enemy for 1 day, not more. Yeah. So they stopped being useful, and at the beginning of the 19th century, the city council also realized the walls are not only not helping now they even suffocate Krakow in the small size from the Middle Ages. So the city council at the beginning of the 19th century decided to pull down the walls of Krakow. But not the Barbican and not the Florian gate, because those two blocked the wind that otherwise would blow directly to the main market and raise the dresses of the ladies leaving the church after the mass. 19th century bourgeois morality saved the Florian gate. Yeah. Today it wouldn't work. Today nobody cares about looking at somebody's knees. Yeah. But back then it worked. The rest was demolished. They put a garden in the same place. We call it planted. This is planted. That's why this park is so narrow, because it's only where the walls used to be. Yeah. It's a sign for you guys. If you see this narrow park in Krakow, you are somewhere at the edge of the old town. Okay.
All right. So the tour is continuing, and I don't know how practical it'll be to try to film the whole tour, but I will do my best to give you some of the highlights. And the tour guide here just really is wonderful. I believe the company is Walkative, and I will be sure to promote them in the video as I upload it up to YouTube.
Almost everybody. Remember the Moldovan Expedition? I told you about the King of Poland that went there with his army to get everybody killed? Yeah? Okay. So he could do that because we used to be neighbors. Now we are not, so now it would be kind of more difficult to attack Moldova for Poland, yeah? And we wouldn't be doing it, hopefully. But back then in the Middle Ages we were neighbors with Moldova. It started at the end of the 14th century when the Queen of Poland, Jadwiga, turned 12 and she started to plan two things. One of them was a war expedition to Russia, and another one was her own wedding with a man that she didn't know personally, not yet. His name was Jagiełło. He didn't speak Polish. He was 20 years older than Jadwiga. He was of a different religion. She was Christian and he was pagan. Great choice, yeah? He was also this. He was rich. He was the Duke of Lithuania, and Lithuania at that time was huge. Right now it's not that big of a country, it's north and east of Poland, yeah? No Lithuanians here? No? Okay, alright. So today Lithuania is much smaller than Poland, okay? Back then it was much bigger than Poland. It was everything that right now goes on the map between Poland and Russia. So that was Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, parts of Russia, parts of Moldova. And after the wedding he moved to Krakow, and they stayed here for the whole lifetime of that couple. They were staying here, which means Krakow suddenly became the capital of the biggest land of Europe, Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Yeah. Centuries later, the capital of this union, we were still a team, yeah, but the capital later moved to Warsaw, and since then everything started to go downhill. The government of Poland started to lose power so much and so fast. 1 century later, the end of the 18th century, they lost everything. Russia took the east side of the Union, so they took the Lithuanian part, yeah, and also eastern Poland today, like Warsaw, including Warsaw. Then Prussia, which means Germany, took the west, and Austria took the south, including Krakow here, yeah. So then for the next 1 century, through the whole 19th century, there was no Poland left on the map. We got it back at the end of the First World War. Which year is it? The end of the First World War, 1918, yeah, 1914 the beginning, 1918 the end. Then the winners of the First World War decided there should be something on the map between Germany and Russia, because this way Europe will be safer when those two are separated from each other. So they put Poland back on the map. This was our function, to separate Germany from Russia. Yeah? And then Germany and Russia decided they don't really need that. So they took Poland off the map again. Yeah? That's how the Second World War started, with a deal between Stalin and Hitler to split Poland between themselves. For them, Poland was a 21-year-old mistake. So they fixed the mistake. Yeah? 1st of September 1939, Hitler attacked Poland from the west, from the north, from the south. 3 weeks later, Stalin joined, attacked Poland from the east. Okay? There was no Polish army after 5 weeks. At the beginning of October, there was almost no Polish soldiers still fit to fight. Yeah? So Poland was split again then. The west annexed into Nazi Germany, the east controlled by the Soviets, the middle controlled by the Nazis, but not annexed into Germany. It was a kind of a colony for them, I guess, yeah? More or less this was the whole idea here. Krakow became the capital of this colony. Hans Frank, he was general governor. Yeah, so he was the man at the top of this colony. That's why he moved to the Warsaw Castle. Okay, we're talking about him already. So that lasted up till the moment Hitler turned against Stalin, sent his army to Russia, which is never a good idea. So he lost, and then the Soviets took over the whole country, not just half of it. They stayed here up till 1989. So far, this was the last occupation of Poland. So far. Yeah. But back to the 19th century, there's no Poland, but there are Polish people. One of them, Izabela Czartoryska, decided to make people remember Poland by establishing a museum of it. Yeah, she didn't know Poland will be back, yeah, so she wanted a way to remember, yeah, a place to remember, I guess. She started the first Polish museum. This is it. Those three buildings connected to each other with those little bridges at the tops. Now when you look at the top of that bridge, between those two buildings here, yeah, can you see the coat of arm, a rider with a sword in his hand like this, yeah? Okay, this is the coat of arm of the Czartoryski family. We are talking about aristocracy. Enough money, education, good taste, and free time as well. They traveled. They went to Italy, they got everything that was on sale in Italy, including the most beautiful lady painted by Leonardo da Vinci. What's her name? High five! It's usually Mona Lisa, the first answer I get. Yeah? Mona Lisa is the famous one, sure, but we've got the pretty girl. She's behind you. Let's have a look at her. The blue poster. All right. Cecilia was a teenage mistress of an Italian prince. They lived in the Middle Ages there. They were happy for some time. Then he decided to get married, not to her. She was pretty, but she wasn't rich. So he picked a princess to get married to. Had to get rid of the girlfriend, though, before the wedding with the other woman, I guess, yeah? So he decided to give her a nice goodbye gift. He paid Da Vinci for the picture. Da Vinci was famous already, so he paid a lot. And he wanted to go with the same painting with the girlfriend because, well, he was paying a lot, yeah? But he couldn't. I mean, he couldn't put his face next to the girlfriend because the wife will start thinking, this is not an ex-girlfriend, yeah? So they used his nickname instead. Can you see the boyfriend? The Weasel. And she's pregnant. So we've got the whole family here. But when you look at it, it's a selfie of a girl with her cat. That's all it is, yeah? The wife couldn't complain. So the painting survived in Italy, and centuries later was bought by the Czartoryski family, brought to Krakow. Since then she's staying here, but not in this museum anymore. We are fixing, renovating it. So she's moved to a bigger one, the main building of the National Museum in Krakow, across the Old Town. So 20 minutes walk from here, and 20 zloty for the ticket to see the girl. No lines like in Paris for Mona Lisa. Yeah, like, absolutely no lines there. Any questions before we go? No questions. Next stop then, the main market square. We're gonna go.
All right, and the tour continues. We find ourselves walking down I guess this would be the main street here, on our way to the square. And it's a Saturday morning, and not summertime, so there's not quite as many people here on the street that would be here, say, in June, July, or August. But the weather could not be nicer, and the tour guide could not be nicer as well. It's really a great decision to take this tour here in Krakow.
Being moved from the too small Wawel Hill to the bigger area, and it was designed. Yeah, it wasn't growing like normal cities do. They just someone they put it here so they could put it the way they wanted, like in a grid. Maybe you've noticed that the streets of Old Krakow cross like a chessboard. Yeah, they are very regular, and in the middle of this chessboard, they put this huge empty space that we call the main market, and around it they located the most important buildings for a medieval town, like the town hall. That's the tower right there, the one of the clock. Or the parish church of Krakow, the one in front of you. This is the second version of it. That's 14th century St. Mary's Church, made in red brick. And this is the way to recognize the Gothic style in Krakow. It's made of red brick usually. And usually, this is what they liked back then, it's symmetrical. Can you look at the church? Can you see the problem? It's not symmetrical, yeah? Well, actually the church is. I mean, they were building it, you can see, they were going from bottom to top, yeah? And everything was okay, up to the moment something snapped. And the towers started to grow differently. The church is okay, the towers are not, yeah? Can you see that? Okay, so according to the legend, the two towers were built by two brothers. The older brother was the teacher of the younger one, but it soon turned out that the younger brother is a better, faster builder. So the older one, he got so jealous and angry about that, at one point he actually killed his younger brother in secret. Then he continued building his tower, that's why this one is taller, because it's finished. And then the city was very grateful to him, because he continued building the church despite his younger brother being killed by some criminal that was never found, yeah? So it took like a special man to do that, though everybody else would quit the job probably. So they not only paid him for the job, they also organized a party for him. They got him drunk. He then climbed his tower, yelled about what he did, really, yeah, that he killed his brother, and then he committed suicide jumping from it. Very sad story, completely not true as well. Yeah. We know the reason why the towers are not the same, and it's security, it's not murder. Cities like Krakow in the Middle Ages had two big threats: fire inside, enemy army outside. You want to warn the city something like this is coming, you need to see that. Where are you going to go? Up. You go up. The tower of a church, yeah? The higher it is, the better it is. So imagine you are the god, you've got a trumpet to play in a case of danger, yeah, to warn people, and you are sitting on top of that tower, yeah? But the church is beautiful and symmetrical and both towers are the same. And you are looking in this direction. What can you see? The other tower is blocking your view. Yeah? That's why one of the towers had to go lower, so that the god can see it all over the place. Yeah? They are still there. They still play the trumpet. But not in a case of danger, but now they do that every full hour. They act as the clock now. Yeah? So in 15 minutes, one of them hopefully will play the trumpet, if they won't forget, okay? And we'll be here to listen to him in 15 minutes. But before that, we'll talk about the most important building for medieval Krakow. And it wasn't the church or the town hall, because those two were located in good spots, yeah? Corners of the main square, you couldn't complain about that. But there's a better location than a corner. It's the center. So ladies and gentlemen, the most important building of Krakow, put right in the center of the main market square, was the shopping mall. Let's go inside. We'll meet in the middle.
All right, we found our way into the market here in the square. No shortage of things to look at or to fill up your suitcase with. Really is a great tour. What a wonderful decision to come out on this Saturday morning and take a tour with Walkative.
The altar is being established. The prince sends a message to Magdeburg in Germany, because Magdeburg in Germany developed a special kind of law, as suitable for a trade town, and Krakow was a trade town. So we wanted that law system because it was good. So the prince sent a letter with a job opening, basically, a job offer to the lawyers from Magdeburg. Some of them moved with their whole families to Krakow, and they became our lawyers, and they told us what should be the punishment for stealing in the cloth hall. And it was this, or rather, that. Can you see the knife above the Spanish flag? That was the warning. You come here, you steal something, we'll punish you with cutting your ear off. You do that again, then we'll cut the neck. But it didn't work as a warning. This is the 13th knife in the same spot. Can you guess what happened to the previous knives? They were stolen already. Yeah, they were already stolen. But the cloth hall is still a place to go shopping. Yeah, you saw that. Not for textile, but souvenirs. Upstairs, gallery of Polish paintings. Downstairs, another museum, archaeological museum, that shows you Krakow from the Middle Ages on site. And I will tell you how it is possible that the 14th century level is 4 meters below the 21st century. Okay, we'll talk about that. But first, can you see the flag now, the Polish flag, black, white and red at the end of the building? This is the entrance to the museum, and we'll talk about it instead by the other church, the St. Adalbert Chapel. Let's move there. This is 11th century. There was like an open field and a crossroad behind you in that area. And in the 11th century, they built these small chapels and Atlasberg Church. And this was the original entrance to it. Yeah, makes sense so far? Everything is okay? Yeah. Then a couple of centuries later, suddenly this became from the middle of nowhere, the middle of the capital of the country. They put the main market square. They built houses around it. People moved into the houses. In the houses they had garbage, but they didn't have night pots. What do you do with your chamber pot next morning?
Window?
Yeah, window. Yeah, open the window into the street, yeah? And nobody was cleaning that up. It's Middle Ages after all, yeah? This was a market though, so there were garbage, lots of it, also at the market, yeah, from the shops or people just going around the market and starting to sell something on the outside, yeah. So garbage was there, but also live animals were sold, and live animals make, you know what they make, yeah. So again, nobody's cleaning that up, right? Instead, every 40 years, the city council through the whole Middle Ages was paying for another layer of pavement to cover up the garbage and the rest. So we now got a 4-meter sandwich of garbage and floor and garbage. Yeah. It's a heap, so it's 4 meters in the middle, and here we've got about 2.5 more or less. Yeah. So 10 years ago, in the middle of this heap of garbage that we call the main market square, they run excavations. When you excavate archaeological excavations, doing that, you dig a hole, you take the dirt out, then you take the interesting stuff out from the dirt, and then you put the dirt back, right? We didn't put the dirt back. Instead, we put a roof over the hole we made. And inside the museum. So if you go to the main market square underground museum, you can go straight into the Middle Ages, into the 14th century, which was the best time for the city. Yeah? And you can see everything people lost, everything they threw away, but also everything they wanted to hide from others. Yeah? All the secrets are out then. Now, there are 2 main museums in the city, apart from the Wawel Castle, the Schindler's Factory, and the main market square underground. The difference between those two: for the Schindler's Factory, you don't really need a guide because everything is fully in English. A guide will improve the experience probably, but you will still understand if you go there by yourself, yeah, what you are looking at. If you go to the main market square underground, you need a guide because there's 0 explanations there, okay? So you need either a live guide or an audio guide. Okay? We run tours in both museums, but if you go to the underground, you can also get an audio guide. That's not a problem. But do get a guide, one or other version of it. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's go back to the 21st century then. Church, not the small one, the white one, but the red one in front of you, St. Mary's. So we need to move a little bit like this, guys, okay? It's gonna be easier for you and for me as well. Awesome. So make sure you can see comfortably the higher tower, the top of it. Not the one in front of us, but the one a little bit farther away. Can you see the open window there? There's an open window? There is an open window, okay? That's the room of the trumpeter. I told you that the trumpeters are there and they play the trumpet. In the Middle Ages they were warning the city. Now they play it every full hour. Every single full hour, during the day and during the night. The shift lasts 12 hours, so there are 2 shifts, but there are also 2 trumpeters at 1 shift. So how they divide those 12-hour shifts between themselves, it's up to them, yeah? And they play the trumpet, the same melody each time, and they repeat it each time 4 corners of the tower. So 4 times, yeah? This corner, our corner now, this is the first one he's gonna play for. Then he will go to the other side of the room, he will play into Florianska Street. We came from that direction. At the end of that street, behind the church, that's the Florian Gate, that's where we started. Then he's gonna play the same melody again to the back of the church in like that corner, and then in that corner. So 4 times the same melody, okay? And in 1 hour, again, 4 times the same melody. And next time, again and again and again. When he plays for us, I want you to listen closer to the last part of the melody. It's gonna go up, 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 quiet. I want you to catch this moment that there's no proper ending, but there should be. It sounds like it's cut in the middle, yeah? The reason for that, the reason why the melody doesn't have a proper ending, according to the legend, the city was protected this way. Yeah, the trumpeter had to play the trumpet in a case of a danger. And one early morning he saw the danger. That was the Mongol army. You've heard about them? Yeah, Genghis Khan's people. Yeah, 13th century more or less. They were attacking Central, Eastern Europe. They were coming from today's Russia. In Krakow, Genghis Khan himself was never visited. Yeah, but his tribes, or related to his tribe, they were here a couple times. So once the trumpeter saw that tribe attacking the city, he played the trumpet. It was early, everybody was still asleep. Yeah, so he wanted to wake up Krakow, but the Mongol army was so close. One of the soldiers managed to shoot an arrow and pierce the throat of the trumpeter to silence him. The trumpeter died. The city was not warned. The city was destroyed. Since then, every other trumpeter is finishing the melody at the same broken note to remember this fallen hero who tried to protect the city. Yeah? This is another very sad story. What do sad stories mean? Not true. Exactly. Yeah. I told you Old Town was never destroyed, right? Yeah. The Mongols were here, but the trumpeter, he didn't die because of the Mongol arrow. Nothing like this ever happened. The story about the Mongol arrow comes from the beginning of the 20th century. It's quite a new legend. It's one of the newest one we've got in Krakow. There was a tourist from America. He was so curious about the melody, why it doesn't have a proper ending, and the guy didn't know. She simply, at one point, made up this story about the Mongol arrow to give him an answer. Yeah? Just anything. So he believed, went back home, wrote a book. The title was Trumpeter of Krakow. It was a good book. It got a Pulitzer or a Booker, I don't remember, one of those two. Well, it got really popular in America. Lots of kids read it. Then they traveled. They demanded the story about the Mongol arrow when they were here. We had no idea what they mean, up till the moment they showed us the book. Since then, we lied to you. Because you want that. And I'm gonna lie a lot. But I will warn you most of the time. Look up.
Chodźcie tam na strzegami jeszcze.
This is a live person, yeah? This is not a recording what sometimes people expect. This is a live person. Another way to know this is a live person, not only by simply seeing him holding the trumpet, is listening to them. They make mistakes. I mean, people playing the trumpet are not trained musicians, those are firefighters. Those are the protectors of the city. Yeah, it's the same kind of job like in the Middle Ages. So in Krakow, if you are a firefighter and you retire, you can get a side job at the top of the trumpet of the tower and play the trumpet. But one condition, you can play any musical instrument, and then you will learn this one melody only. Yeah. So they are really not musicians; they are still the guards of the city. Instead, you can visit them. The church is being renovated right now, but not the tower. So the tower is still open. You buy a ticket, you go upstairs, about 300 steps, and the last level a tourist can reach is the room of the trumpeter. Any questions? We need a coffee break, do we? Yeah, we could use one. Yeah, let's have a break. Okay, we'll go to the university for that.
All right, so our tour guide has brought us for coffee, I believe. We're going down into a small passageway here in Krakow, not too far from the main square. Our tour guide has brought us into a courtyard, and I believe we're going to have some coffee or something. She had told us that we were going to have a little break, but we'll see what this place is that she's brought us to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with the best part of the tour, the break, and then we'll talk about the university. We're in the University of Krakow building, we'll talk about it, but first, you can go upstairs, take photos from there. There's a video about the place, it's behind you, it's on the screen. Then this corner here to your right, I believe, yeah. This is a free toilet. This is a free exhibition about swords. The next open door, that's a museum of the university. And that open door, straight next to the gate, can you see it? Downstairs there's another toilet, 1 zloty, to the girl at the bar though, okay? This one is free and that one costs 1 zloty, and you give it to the girl at the bar because it's a cafe. Downstairs there's a cafe as well. So you can also use the cafe, yeah? So you can get, I don't know, tea to go, vodka, snacks, whatever you need. And we're gonna meet in 10 minutes here for the story. 10 minutes starts now. Run!
All right, so I thought I would share a little bit about the university, if only from Wikipedia, and the tour's about to begin back up, but I will just take a few minutes and share some stuff here. Founded in 1364 by Casimir III the Great, the Jagiellonian University is the oldest university in Poland, the second oldest university in Central Europe, and one of the oldest surviving universities in the world. Notable alumni include, among others, mathematician and astronomer Copernicus, poet Kanakowski, Polish king Sobieski, and the list goes on. The campus is centrally located within the city of Krakow. The university consists of 15 faculties, including the humanities, law, the natural, the social sciences, medicine. The university employs 4,000 academics and has more than 40,000 students who study in some 80 disciplines. The language of instruction is usually Polish, although several degrees are offered in either German or English. The university library is one of Poland's largest and houses several medieval manuscripts, including Cornapicus, well, I'm having a hard time pronouncing that, De Revolutionibus. So, due to its history, the university is traditionally considered Poland's most reputable institution of higher learning. And then it goes on to say, in the mid-14th century, King Casimir III the Great realized the nation needed a class of educated people, especially lawyers who could codify the country's laws and administer the courts and offices. It goes on. You can go on and see the article, or just go to Wikipedia and read more about the library here, the university, I should say. But really is an interesting place for sure. Look at this. Wow. Fantastic. All right, let's continue on with the tour. All right, I am back at the main square here in Krakow, and I opted not to continue to the completion of the walking tour insofar as Wawel Castle, because I've actually been to Wawel Castle before. And in matter of fact, if you Google or rather go on YouTube and search for Wawel Castle, you'll see the video that I did of Wawel Castle. So I thought that I would just complete the tour, the walking tour, with a visit back to the main square and just give you an idea. This is for all intent and purpose, this really is the main attraction here in Krakow, or at least one of the top attractions. Everybody comes to the main square here in Krakow. So I hope you enjoyed the walking tour, and I gotta give a shout out to the young lady that actually gave the tour. Really fantastic. Really a great opportunity to learn a little bit about this wonderful city. So if you're in Krakow and you're looking for a great tour, look no further than that organization. I think the name of the organization, it's called Walkative. Here it is. It's Walkative. So you can just Google. And matter of fact, I'll put the link to their website right on this video as well. So have a great day, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the visit here to Krakow, and hope you have a chance to visit this great city one day yourself.